You're listening to Cinema IRL, the podcast that throws you into the movie and asks the question, what would you do? They say you can't fight City Hall, but are they right? In episode 8, we cover the Poolman and discuss the importance or the frivolousness of being a community activist. And now, Cinema IRL.
I wish I could switch places for just one day.
You find yourself in the unique position.
What would you do?
Put yourself in my shoes.
How do we handle this?
What would you do?
What would you do?
How do you want to handle this?
What would you do?
Put yourself in my position.
What would you do?
Now it's your turn.
You know, sometimes I have to be reminded that this is not a movie review show and that we're not reviewing the movies, because I don't know that tonight's would have necessarily gotten a stellar review from me.
Yes, we are talking tonight about the Poolman. Los Angeles pool cleaner Darren Barronman is approached by a femme fatale to help uncover corruption in a shady business deal.
Yeah. So
Spit it out.
I didn't know if the movie was a comedy or drama. Like,
Yeah.
it's done with it, and I still couldn't tell you. It seemed to very seamlessly go back and forth between, like, real, legitimate storyline and then stuff that just seemed completely nonsensical.
It existed. It was something that happened. Beyond that, I don't want to say it was a bad movie,
I mean, I will.
but it was not a good movie. It was not a good movie.
I mean, for the cast, I was like, great cast, but
oh yeah, Annette Bening, Danny DeVito,
Chris
Jennifer
Pine.
Jason Leigh.
Yeah.
Well, Chris Pine wrote it, so I don't know if I'm
Yeah,
gonna be
so,
all
yeah, I
Chris
don't-
Pine.
yeah. But either way, we're not going to discuss. So the what would you do? It's kind of interesting to figure out on this one. I know what I'm going to say, but I want to hear what you have to say first. Like, what angle you're coming at it from, and see if we're in.
So since our show is about what would we do in the situations that the main character is, I was looking at the angle of what would you do if you were put in a position to either look into, investigate, and or stop government corruption, because that was a big part of the plot line.
Yeah, I mean, and pretty much, I think the what would you do has a lot to do with local government involvement.
Yes, and special interests and backdoor deals and shady activities that the unsuspecting public never sees.
Yeah. So, I mean, the character, how many city council meetings in a row did it say he had shown up?
Oh.
Like 500 something
Yeah.
LA city council, which is interesting because we're in LA, so we got like most of the references, and we still didn't like the movie. I think if you lived outside LA and you didn't get the 80 billion LA references that were in this movie.
Yeah, that's true. There was jokes about the parking and the traffic and certain streets and whatnot. And actually within our area, so we knew a lot of them. And now I'm going to look for good parking on Wisconsin Street because they mentioned that in Pasadena. But yeah, it was, if you were in any other area except for Los Angeles, that's kind of just dialogue that just falls by the wayside because it doesn't mean anything to you.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like, I remember when I was younger and living in Texas and hearing about the sun coming up over Santa Monica Boulevard, and that meant nothing to me. But now I know Santa Monica Boulevard quite well.
I have driven down Santa Monica when that came out, driven down Santa Monica Boulevard with that blaring. So yes, lots of California references and TVs and music. So if you were the character then and you were put in the middle, you had an interest in local government enough so that you're showing up to city council meetings for years to try and get your bus schedule approved. And you were presented with this, hey, something's shady going on in local government. We need your help. Can you help investigate this? What would you do? Because you have an interest.
I do have an interest in that case. But
I know you. I feel like you would be like, okay, yeah, let's see what we can dig up. And you'd put on your super sleuth hat and dive right in.
I mean, maybe to a point. I mean, I've mentioned before to you that due to some previous relationships, I dated someone when they went through PI school.
Yeah.
So I picked up a few things. I'd probably be happy to utilize some of that, but I mean, I don't know if I would start staking people out.
Yeah, because it certainly had not only the stakeout element, but also a little bit of gunplay and framing, and the plot line definitely escalated over the course of the film.
Yeah.
So, okay, well, that's another thing what would you do is if you were with someone and that someone got shot and then the perpetrator threw the gun at you and you had to catch it, so you were framed, what would you do?
I wouldn't run. I mean, the best chance you have to avoid being framed for something is to clear it up as quickly as possible. If someone threw me the gun, what I'm doing is I am waving my arms, trying to get the next freaking human being possible to get in there and start saying, I have this gun. I did not shoot this person. They threw this gun at me. They shot from over there. And because here's the thing. I mean, there is such thing as forensics, that they'll be able to look at entry wounds and stuff like that. And they'll be
you
able
wouldn't
to
have gunpowder on your hand, which is a very standard
precisely.
test.
There's other ways to deal with this.
That's a good point.
So the fastest way to deal with it is to just get other people's attention and don't try to hide anything. Don't be like, oh my God, this looks really bad. This looks bad. What
you
do I do?
realize there would be no movies or TV shows
Yes.
or books ever if people did that.
That is completely true.
Very short films,
But I mean,
low drama.
but that is why this is cinema IRL, because my life isn't a movie. I'm not going down for a murder I didn't commit.
Just the ones you did.
Yeah, just the ones I did. Those are but no, I mean that's really. I mean, I am trying to clear it up right away, and you have enough faith in the system. Admittedly, he could be painted as having a motive in that situation.
Right, as in the council president never took his side, actually had him arrested.
Yeah.
There could definitely be some perceived motive and bad blood there.
Yeah, for sure.
And as always, if you're just joining us, we ruin films, we drop spoilers, we talk about it as if you have already seen it, so beware.
Yeah, spoilers.
Hopefully you've seen it and you've given us a listen after you've seen it.
Actually,
And-
hopefully you haven't. Hopefully
No?
you saved your time.
Oh, yes, don't see this movie.
Because we're not a movie review show, Scott. We're not a movie
Yeah.
review show, Scott.
Well, it's a film called The Poolman. I mean, how good was it going to be?
I mean, I don't know. There's been plenty of movies with lame titles that have actually been pretty decent.
Name that movie.
No. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because the what would you do, from my perspective, actually has to do more with the concept of even getting involved in city government to that level. Because, I mean, you can see on YouTube, you've got those wackadoodles. I mean, those wackadoodles, they exist. Like, this is not a Hollywood thing. I've been on YouTube and I've seen these wackadoodles at their city hall meetings, and the ones who show up every single time.
But you know what? There's worse things in life to be wackadoodle about than trying to make your city better, at least in your perceived idea what better might be.
I completely agree. And I am very much a proponent of the saying, the squeaky wheel gets the grease.
Right.
The louder you are, the more you're likely to get something done. But also, there is a point at which you've got so much grease on that wheel that everything just slides right off.
Yeah.
And you can't, like, if you're there every single time, eventually you just get tuned out. They're like, he's here, he's going to do their thing. Just let him talk. We'll fantasize about
give him
what
his 3 minutes and move on.
So it's always good to get involved when you have an issue, but you've got to remember not to turn off the people around you, namely like the city council members.
Sure. And in that case, obviously city council members turn over, leadership turns over. So what could be a no today could be a yes after the next election, which, it's good to stay engaged in the process.
Yeah. And I'm not even saying necessarily that you have to try something once in the election period. Like, if they're doing weekly meetings, just don't be at all of them.
Maybe
like every other
one,
or
one a quarter.
one every I mean, no, I I mean, if this is something you're really big on, I could see going to 3 meetings in 2 months.
I can even see you're going to every freaking meeting, but maybe after a year, maybe that's when you reevaluate if I've given this a year and no one's budged.
Yeah, I think.
Because if you are passive about it and you are passionate about it as well, to just kind of show up sporadically doesn't seem like you're very dedicated. But if you double down for a year and you go to all of them and then you're still nowhere, then maybe that's the time to rethink.
Yeah, I don't mind if you've got a thing you want to bring up. I mean, you're probably not going to get it done on the first attempt. And I've got no problem if you go weekly for several months to make sure that these guys understand, hey, listen, this isn't like some weird passing interest thing that I have here. This is a point I'm going to hammer home. But at a certain point, you've just got to figure out the happy medium, where to pull back. If you're just saying the same thing every time, you're going to lose interest. So if you're coming back after like the first couple of months, you need to come back with something of substance, something that actually adds to your argument.
And sometimes it depends what it is. Like, for example, if it was a stop sign near a school where a kid had been hit, if you're coming back every week for that, I think that's worth coming back every week for.
Yeah. I mean, again, it really depends on what it is. Or is it a health and safety issue, or is it we want the buses to run more efficiently?
Well, that's actually a big issue for a lot of people, public transportation.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not knocking.
And that was his issue.
I'm not knocking public transportation. I'm just saying that, like, buses running efficiently is not going to turn the heads that kids dying might.
Sure. Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, and don't get me wrong. I am very pro getting involved in government at all levels. I mean, local all the way straight to federal. If you've got a voice and you feel like using it, absolutely do it. But learn how to be influential. Like, pick up Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People and read it. It may be an old book. It's still perfectly relevant today.
Oh, yeah.
Stuff like that. Like, if your delivery isn't working,
yeah, take a different tactic.
don't hammer it. Work on your delivery.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So figure it out better. So,
I don't know. If I was Chris Pine in this film, if I was his character, I would have just stayed in my trailer and taken a nap and spared the audience all of my shenanigans.
yeah, I have to agree with that. His life was a fucking mess.
The characters.
Yes, the character's life. Chris Pine's life, I'm sure he's just fine.
I'm sure it's very delightful.
So, okay, any final thoughts on this one? I'll give you the last word.
I think that was my final thought. So we'll pretend we ended about 20 seconds ago.
You got it.
We hope you enjoyed our episode. Thank you for listening. And to catch all the new episodes, please subscribe. We release 2 to 3 episodes weekly, so we'll have new content regularly. Until next time.